Hello there. I recently survived 100 days in a hardcore Minecraft world as a vampire. During which time, many villagers had their blood stolen, numerous vampire hunters were murdered, and a beautiful gothic vampiric home was made by me. But now it's time to really get stuck into the vampiric mod pack. We're gonna master our vampire abilities, become a savant in magic, found our own vampiric society, and challenge the dominant species in this world. I welcome you to 200 days as a vampire. In order to spice things up a little bit, some things have changed since completing my 100 days. I've taken my beautiful vampiric house and plonked it in a completely brand new world, though this process was not perfect. During the transition, my house took considerable damage, my inventory was wiped, and I was given a significant head injury, which has resulted in a slightly British accent, a below average IQ, and a lust for Greg's bacon sausage rolls. Anyway, let's get started. We begin by waking up from a terribly tumultuous nap, leaving me dehydrated, fatigued, and fairly certain someone has stolen my wallet. I recognize my surroundings. This is the house that I had built recently. Though in an interesting turn of fate, my entire environment seems to have changed. Instead of the desiccated salt flats I'm used to, I'm now in some kind of cold, freezing, arid environment with no discernible civilization in sight. Shropshire. The good news is I haven't lost any of my previously obtained vampire levels, though I do appear to have forgotten all of my skills and had to unlock them once again. Okay, we'll take night vision so we can see what's going on, and my god! My furnaces! They've been ruined! During my nap, the house appears to have taken considerable damage and is in dire need of repairs. All of the Tinker's furnaces and smelteries I've built have taken severe damage and are no longer functional. But some more so than others, and I noticed my Foundry is actually quite repairable. Okay, this one looks fixable, actually. Oh, it just occurred to me I have no items. Okay, we're gonna need things to... And there's a leak. There's a leak in my house? Oh no, the villagers. Ah yes, the villagers. All creatures need to eat, and I am no exception. Though sadly as a vampire, this has left me gluten intolerant, which means I cannot consume human food, and need to instead consume the blood of living beings. This is why I had previously gone to considerable effort to try and wrangle a few villagers and get a breeding program going. But sadly, it would appear that during my nap, those ungrateful twats had managed to escape. They're all gone? Damn! Do you know how long it took me to get Glortbert in here? Okay, I am furious now. And there's a lava leak. Great. There's a lot of holes in the ceiling. That needs to be addressed. I'm gonna burn. Actually, do I burn under the holes in the ceiling? Let's see. Oh, yes. Okay, yes I do. Okay, the altar is largely untouched. That's good. But they stole all the gold blocks, it seems. Absolute twats. The furnaces are both broken. There's holes in the floor and the ceiling. There's a giant hole at the back of the house that's gonna need fixed so that all kinds of monsters and gremlins can get in. And we have a lava leak, which hasn't set any fires yet, but it will. There's a leak downstairs from the villager transportation system, which is urinating water all over my basement. Great. Love that for us. In good news, though, there appears to be a vampire who's moved in, and whatever calamity that struck my house appears to have left all my juices alone, so we still have some molten metal left. So we aren't starting from nothing. In fact, I had a chest that was still full of scorched bricks, which I could turn into blocks and start repairing my furnace right away. I wasn't able to fully repair it though, and without access to the Nether, I won't be able to turn this back on until I can figure out some way to make more bricks. Oh, Cornelius! How could you let this happen, Cornelius? I left you in charge for all of 2 centuries, and you've let the place turn to crap! Did they take everything? Yes! Okay, I have stuff left. Thank God! There's a lot of different things in here, but all of the quantities are quite low. Okay, looks like we've managed to keep all of our Tinker stuff. Amongst my remaining possessions, I managed to find a crossbow and a sword. I only have 1 arrow though, and the sword doesn't have much durability, but it's nice to at least be armed. I then had a quick check on my lodestone, which appears to have gone goth, and found that sadly, I have no other teleport locations. Damn it! Before we could get started on some repairs though, I needed some starter tools. Thankfully, I did have some diamonds left over, so I wasn't starting from scratch, and was able to make myself a diamond pickaxe. God, I love being wealthy. Amongst the most important things we lost was this, the Smeltery controller. Without it, we can't merge liquids together and get different metals. I couldn't for the life of me remember how to make it again, so I had to review my literature and found that I need to make a meltery. And for that, we're gonna need the grouty bricks. But a far more pressing concern than my smithing business is the fact that I'm starting to get a little hungry. I needed to head outside in search of food, and before doing so, I had a quick look over my skill tree. I'm currently vampire level 8, but all of my skill points have been reset. I unlock the regeneration and bat form abilities, the vampiric rage combat ability, and a cheeky little passive called Advanced Biter. It basically means I siphon blood more effectively from creatures, and I don't need to worry about going full Astarian and drinking people to death, unless I want to. Some of my other vampire abilities aren't related to the tree. As a level 8 vampire, I have increased agility, endurance, and strength. What this translates to is I'm very speedy, I have additional health and armor, and also I do additional damage. Of course though, the caveat of all these passive abilities is that they only work while I'm either under shade or roaming around at night. If I'm under the sunlight, I have none of these abilities. And also I'll burn to death, as I showed you just before. Anyway, let's return to our starvation problem. I thought I would look inside my chest to see if I had any juice boxes left, and turns out I do. Got a few bottles of blood that I must have filled a while ago. So the food problem is kinda solved, not really. We've just delayed the problem. We need to find some either live animals or human beings in order to sustain my life force. Getting a lay of the land isn't too tricky with my handy bat form, so I headed outside and started looking around for any living animals. Humans would be better, of course, but it's not going to be very likely in this snowy tundra I found myself in. I didn't find any humans on my first look around, but I did find something very worrying. A dragon skeleton. A big dragon skeleton as well. These can be harvested for dragon bones and dragon skulls and made into weaponry and tools, but not made into blood, which was what I was searching for at the minute. So I kept going. I found a far more reasonable spruce woodland nearby, and animals did indeed live here. Problem was, I was now almost starved, and the first one I ran into was a bear. Why is that bear covered in flour? Bears tend to be a little unhappy if you steal their blood, so I decided a smarter idea would be to drink one of my juice boxes until I can find something better. Near the bear, I actually found a sheep, and sheep are much more polite than bears, so I was able to slaughter this man without him complaining. Cornelius! You just murdered that sheep. I was drinking from there. It was now the morning of day 102, and I'd managed to get caught away from home and the sun was up. But you'll notice I'm not sizzling like a fish finger. This is because it is currently snowing, and the dense clouds above my head have managed to protect me. Basically, if it's raining or snowing, I can be out during the day. There is one other aspect to the mechanic, but I'll show you that later. Okay, so we've drank, we've had some food. There are sheep around that can be drank from. That's good. Wanting to utilize the cloud cover, I headed back outside and started gathering some materials. I needed some stuff to fill in the damn holes in my floors. I grabbed some wood and headed down to a nearby lake where I was able to find some sand. It was under a frozen lake, but thankfully I don't need to breathe as an undead and was able to jump down there and quickly gather it. I then zipped home and was surprised to realize that my house had been turned into a swingers club while I'd been away. Oi! This is my house! Can't be fighting in here! What? I still had some resources left, as it turns out. I broke a nearby chest expecting it to be empty, and it was full of stone. The annoying part is, none of my house is made from stone. It's all made from deep slate and vampire bricks. And I don't have either of those. Vampire bricks can only be found in vampire lands, which I'm gonna have to go and find soon. But for now, I was able to plug up all the damn holes in the floor. I also stopped the leak into the basement, so things could dry down there. And I also stabbed a zombie in the mouth, who I'd forgotten was unaggressive to me since we're both undead. Basically just killed my roommate. I then flew up and nabbed some of the lava that was floating around my house and used it to fuel a smeltery. This will allow us to smelt down some copper and rebuild this forge. I melted the copper down onto some bricks, which for some reason turns into a smeltery controller. And now I'm able to mix molten goo together. We can melt down this amethyst and copper to make amethyst bronze, which I needed to make an anvil in order to make a sledgehammer, which I would use to get deep slate and repair my house. Now that the smeltery's all fixed, I turned my attention to the foundry. Thought would be much easier to repair, but turns out it isn't. Basically, I don't have enough of these scorched bricks in order to make the repairs. I also need obsidian glass, and don't have any obsidian. Everything seemed to be pointing at me going mining soon, really. Heading back upstairs, I found something interesting has happened. A sheep, minding its own business, had ambled its way through the gaping hole in my back room. I sought to reward his curiosity by stealing all of his blood. His presence did give me the idea, though, that I should perhaps entrap him and use him as a food source until I can find some human beings. I decided to name him Marvin. After trapping him, I also stole his clothes. And the reason I stole his clothes was because I can use them to make myself a not very masculine but entirely useful device, an umbrella. This will protect me from the harsh rays of the sun while I am outside. I could just sleep in my coffin until it's nighttime, but personally, I really want to get these repairs done. When night fell, I thought it'd be fun if I test out some of my vampire abilities. I used my incel rage and started attacking this man with the face mask. It apparently drastically increases my damage as well as increasing my durability and speed. To my surprise, it also lasted an incredible amount of time. I was able to travel to a nearby cave and slap a bone wizard in the face before it ran out. It wasn't until a few minutes later that it finally wore off and my aura of rage dissipated. I was then approached by a beast man wearing a cloak and accidentally fired my only crossbow bolt at him, turning my crossbow into nothing more than a paperweight. My mage hunter sword was doing for now, but look at its durability. Not good. I needed to get something new relatively soon. Exploring the cave in my bat form, I came across an ore which I didn't recognize. Turns out this is silver ore, and it can be used to make silver armor, which I thought looked cool. My tough vampiric hide offers me some form of protection already, but it would be nice to not be naked, and finally the neighbors would stop complaining. Actually, I did wear this stylish hat I stole from a bone wizard I killed earlier, so I wasn't completely naked. I decided to explore the cave a little further, going deeper underground. It was then that I was reminded of why I like to stay on the surface in my bedroom, where no giant centipedes and giant huntsman spiders are. Also none of whatever the hell this thing is. Lucky for me, my bat form meant I was able to easily evade the cretinous vermin that lived underground, but that didn't mean I enjoyed the experience. I hated being down here. Before leaving, I decided to grab a few diamonds that were poking out at me. I didn't really have a use for them. I already have my diamond tools and I'm not really planning on making diamond armor, but it's nice to have things just in case. I actually had the idea that I might use these for some enchanting, but we'll see. Just as I was leaving, I ran into a spawner for ants, as it turned out, and in the two chests I nabbed a couple of things. I grabbed a potion of mana regeneration, some glowy magical powder, and this book which has a description that contains a lot of words and is therefore probably important. I was curious about all of the deep dark I was seeing down here, so I decided to have a quick look, and sure enough, there is actually an ancient city right under my house. I don't know what the chances of that were, but I noted down the coordinates in case I wanted to come back once I was more brave. I'd actually lost my sense of direction and had to dig my way out, but we aren't going to talk about it, right? Once I had unearthed myself from the ground like a freshly born cabbage, I found myself to be quite far from home on the night of day 103. Ambling in what I assumed was the general direction of my house, I came across this rather strange structure. It's some kind of ancient dragon burial mound. To open it, I need a magical key of some kind, which I don't have. But sooner or later, I'll definitely go into one of those. I then found a watchtower with a waystone in it, which meant I could teleport home. I then had a nibble on Marvin and started smelting some of the things I'd mined. Mainly just copper is the ingredient I need to be able to make the amethyst bronze. I needed quite a bit of it. I need 3 whole blocks in order to remake my anvil I've lost. But once I have it, I'll be able to make tools such as the sledgehammer and scythe again. I'm not sure exactly when, but I appear to have also accrued some new literature. This is a novel outlining the Ars Nouveau mod. I don't fully understand it yet, and honestly, foreign knowledge scares me, so I incinerated the book. If I can't figure it out without the novel, then I'm just not gonna figure it out. I'm a vampire, not a reading person. I then threw down a enchanting table. Since I don't have my big tools yet, I'm gonna be damned if I'm just using a raw diamond pickaxe. Let's at least enchant this bad boy. I gave myself efficiency 1 on the pickaxe, efficiency 1 on my hatchet, and in a surprising manner, efficiency 2 on my shovel. Currently day 104. We're speedy, we're naked. Good. We have this. The yoinky sklonky listen here. Now, one thing we are going to do during this playthrough, you see how this one says fire down the bottom there? This is a fire spell. This is an evocation spell. This is a blood spell. This is an ender spell. I think it'd be fun if we mastered blood magic. We're a vampiric man. It's a good idea. Now, the Smeltery had almost finished up our amethyst bronze at this point, but we were lacking in fuel. This thing runs on lava at a good rate. Lucky for me, I had found an extra bucket of lava while I was underground, so I didn't have to steal from my house's decor once again. And with that, we now had enough amethyst bronze to fill 3 blocks. The anvil in question is this fancy little number. It allows me to craft far more powerful tools that have utilities beyond the means of normal Minecraft. The renewed presence of my anvil means that I can take my gold molds I've made earlier and manufacture some more tool components. We then use our anvil to assemble all the bits, and boom, here we are, a cobalt broad axe. As well as being a handy two-handed weapon that's gonna get rid of this stupid mage hunter sword, it's also brilliant for gathering wooden resources. In case you don't remember, it mines every block above the block you mine, meaning getting rid of trees and indeed neighbors who decide to pop in uninvited is now so much quicker, and I can get some repairs done. I then headed home, had a nibble on Marvin, and went downstairs and made myself a fancy new helmet. I smelted up the silver I'd gathered earlier, and now I was role-playing as a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. With my stylish new headwear, I headed onto the roof, and with the fir logs I've just gathered, started doing the repairs on the ceiling. There is a skeleton on my roof. Still got lots more repairs to do, but many of the roof holes... There is a spider up there. He wants me. Many of the roof holes have been filled. There's a couple over there still. Now, it might be morning, but I wanted to keep working. So I quickly plugged up my lava hole and went to sleep in my coffin. That way I could skip to nighttime and continue making some progress. I thought I might make a gemstone of teleportation. I was getting a bit sick of nibbling on Marvin and wanted instead to find some human food. That's food in human form. I reviewed what I needed for the teleport crystal and found that I don't have enough Enderian balls to be able to make it. As luck would have it though, I thought I'd seen an Enderman upstairs, so I quickly went up and had a chat with it. You there! Give me your balls. He did not give me his balls. Damn! Okay, let's go out. We can get one person's balls. We can make a teleporter. Very cold here. I can't imagine people live here. While I was outside, I noticed a rather strange-looking purple tree sticking out. And by chewing away at it, I found out this is indeed a magical tree. It's an archwood tree, and can be used in various forms of enchanting and magical stuff. If I hadn't thrown away the literature from earlier, then I would probably know more about it, but oh well, we'll figure it out as we go. My beautiful heavy axe made disassembling this tree a breeze. Sometime later, during the same evening, I managed to run into one of those tall blokes again and managed to get exactly what we needed. I then glopped one of Marvin's cousins, as I was feeling a bit peckish, then headed home and after some experimentation, found with some gold I could use the archwood logs to make an enchanting thingy. I don't know what it does. As luck would have it, I ended up having a spare book that I hadn't incinerated, and was able to learn if you put objects in it, it transforms them into others. For example, after a couple of minutes, the lapis lazuli I put in there has transformed into a source gem. This is apparently an ingredient that is used to develop the enchanting further. I then slapped together my handy little teleport crystal and headed outside. It was daytime, but it was snowing, so I was able to fly outside without crisping myself. I stopped for a quick snack and then came across some friends of mine. There's a group of vampire hunters on the ridge over there. I don't have any arrows, but I do have a unbridled rage that I can imbue myself with, so I dashed on in and gave them a good stabbing. The best thing about dealing with vampire hunters is you can get a unique item, a human heart. Human hearts can be munched on in order to refill my hunger bar. It's an alternative to drinking blood, and very efficient. Problem is, getting them is kinda hard. I didn't find any signs of humans that night though. Despite my efforts, the sun began to rise over in the distance, and all I had was some loot that I'd managed to scrounge from the nearby areas. Speaking of loot, one interesting thing I managed to do was stab a fairy in the face. This caused her to drop her magical pixie dust, which when sprinkled into a bowl apparently creates something called ambrosia. Consuming this gives you a plethora of buffs that last quite a long time. Wow. Okay. Might need to murder pixies. Anyway, I used my teleport crystal to zip home before I began to burn. Putting on my thinking cap and investigating further into the enchanting thing, I found I could make source stone if I had deep slate, which I don't have. This is amazing. This ambrosia. I'm gonna make more of this. We're gonna murder as many pixies as we possibly can. The time has come for me to build some actual storage in my house, instead of these floating chests of weirdness. In order to speed up the process, I made myself a new special tool. I really didn't want to spend the rest of my mortal life digging out dirt just so I could put some chests in, so I used up all of the cobalt that I had left and made myself a shovel. This thing speeds up the process literally ninefold, as it mines 9 blocks at a time instead of 1. I now had some space, but was starving to death. It was time for me to eat the human heart I'd gathered from those vampire hunters, and give you a visual example for what exactly it does. Now, if we eat a human heart, we heal all of our blood at once. It's great. Which means poor Marvin up there gets another day to recover. To give poor Marvin some time to recover, I decided to go out once again in search of living food, but got distracted when I noticed that there was a lava pool nearby and I was able to restore some of my fuel. I did some more exploring and managed to find some magma, but no human beings. Magma is good, I can use it in my smeltery. Eventually, I returned home to find that my basement has once again become infested with vermin. What the hell has happened to my basement while I was away? Every spider in the world has apparently arrived, as well as the beast men. In order to sort this situation out, I'm going to have to light up the goon cave. They keep crawling in because it's dark and dank and smells in here. I thought about the possibility of using redstone to make myself some redstone lanterns, but it turns out I need glowstone as one of the few things that I seem to have completely lost in my transit. So all I can do really is make torches. However, I don't have any coal, so we're gonna have to cook up these fir logs to make charcoal. The use that I found for magma was in creating the bricks I need for my foundry. Apparently, if you put flint in here and combine it with magma goo, you get the bricks that I need. 5 minutes later, my vampiric senses were tingling, and I realized I was now under attack. There was a swarm of vampire hunters that were going to assault me any time now. And sure enough, from out of the woods they came. I had made myself a cheeky dragon sword I made from that dinosaur skeleton at the beginning. But most of the time, I just used my choppington. Ooh, a ring. We got from those goons 2 hearts and a ring. Significantly increases damage. I like that. What is that thing? A whirly sprig. A what? And now he's dead. Hello, you got stuck in the snow, eh? Oh, idiots. Stuck in the snow. What kind of idiot would get stuck in the snow? Now that my precious chastity had been secured, I headed home and once again met the beastmen in my basement. Oh, there's more beastmen in my... Get out. The sun then began to rise, and I realized my feelings of security were a bit preemptive, as some vampire hunters had followed me home and come into the house. Luckily, my speed and increased damage meant that I was able to dance around them easily. I then mined some obsidian and turned it into glass panes, which was one of the necessary steps in order to restore my foundry to full functionality. With that done, I was now able to reinstall the juice sluicers, allowing me once again to be able to melt things at full capacity. I was then blinded by a boner and suddenly realized that I was supposed to be putting torches up in here. Disengaging my vampiric night vision, it became abundantly clear why there constantly is vermin down here. It is pitch black! My mother always used to say that I'm most handsome with the lights turned off and the bag over my head. I globed Marvin a little bit and then headed outside to a nearby sky island. The reason why I was flying up to this thing is that there are slimes on here. They don't drop regular slimy goo, but the slime that they do drop may be able to be used in leads. I'm hoping to get Marvin some friends so I can sustain myself better. Marvin is a champion, but he's not enough. My plan was, in order to offer Marvin some relief from his blood donations, that we could find some sheep nearby and increase the herd. I found out that I can apparently build these chains. Apparently these are a more durable type of lead that can be used on more animals than default. In order to test the device, I chained Marvin up and dragged him around a bit. Turns out with these chains, you can also tie them to walls, not just fences. So for example, if we got young Marvin here, we can chain him to this. Yeah, poor Marvin, just chained to the wall. Before meeting his prospective wife, Marvin needs a haircut, so I quickly gave him a snip and then headed out. I found this bonny young lass out in the field, but then realized the kidnapping couldn't go ahead because I'd forgotten my chain. I always hate it when that happens. After correcting my error, I was able to return and test out my new device. I wonder if this is gonna work. It is! Ha-ha! I was hoping this would work. Yes, come with me. Oh no! Oh, I thought he fell. Despite my initial excitement though, when I returned home, I found that the chain had a problem. The physics isn't good. Just lower her through the roof. Oh. The pain! Patricia, I'm so sorry. Returning with a second specimen, I got a similar result despite being a lot more gentle with my lowering this time. Gently now. Oh, come on! It was so gentle! Returning to the forest, it would appear that I've killed every sheep that was living here. I could not find another, but I did run into a dog and decided to experiment with a new strategy. At first, I just tried yanking him with the chain, but he got stuck on the environment for some reason, and so I went once again back to the flying strat. This time, I would attempt to cushion the fall of the animal by placing a water bucket and henceforth a water stream. Problem was, I placed the water bucket on some slabs, so we didn't get a water stream, and the dog was turned into paste. Okay, dog's dead. Oh, this is the plan. Now, tomorrow night we're gonna have some animals around here. And the way that we're gonna do that is by doing this. Oh, Christ, no. Oh, the lava. Ah, this was a nightmare. Okay, we're going back to bed. Try again. Anyway, quick nibble, headed back outside, placed down some water, couldn't find any sheep, so decided to abduct a pig instead, and gingerly, with NASA-like precision, lowered this man down onto the aquatic substance, and this time, the animal was not reduced to a fine paste outside my home. Like this. Lovely, it worked. Brilliant. Pigington? Much to the benefit of my therapist, it seemed I wasn't able to pull the pig over blocks though. He was right outside my house and I still couldn't get him in here. I ended up just stealing a carrot from my storage and luring him inside. With one successful kidnapping under my belt, I headed back outside to get the pig a friend, as I genuinely believe I have ran out of sheep. Woe be to Marvin's romantic prospects. I repeated the process as before, as it had shown to be effective. And now I had 2 pigs inside my house. Or at least, I believed I had 2 pigs inside of my house. In my haste, I hadn't actually tied up the first pig before leaving. And after exploring a little bit, I found out what had happened. Oh, he roasted himself instantly. Okay, let's go get another one. Oh, sweet lord, I just remembered. If I do that without having trapped this man, he will murder himself. Come with me. Come and join Marvin. Come on. Come join Marvin. There you go. As the old saying goes, if you kidnap a pig and he roasts himself on one of your lava plumes, you have to go and get a third. So one final extraction from the wilderness, and we now had a small herd of pigingtons. Ah, God, that was disturbingly difficult. It's almost day 112 now. Wasted 3 days getting 2 pigs into my place. But I think the pigs are good eating. Yeah, it's one thingy per pig. Unlike Marvin, who's only 0.5. Delicious. I then started to recline a bit, now that my food problem had been solved, and had a look around to see what else I should be working on next. I came to the conclusion that I need to find a vampire land very soon. I can't upgrade my vampire level anymore until we have some vampire books, and I need vampire bricks in order to upgrade the home. Whatever had caused the destruction of my home had also taken the golden blocks that were in my altar, but thankfully they hadn't looted the storage and I had plenty left, so was able to just replace them. With the altar's power restored, we can now check what we need to upgrade our vampire abilities. Or at least we would be able to if it were nighttime, which it isn't. My exploration would have to wait until nighttime though, so I decided to spend the day expanding the basement. Eventually, I'm going to replace every single dirt block in here with some form of brick or stone, but for now, I just wanted the space. As part of the renovation process, I needed more bricks, and was getting a bit bored of the tedium of crafting 1 brick at a time. So I instead decided to spend an embarrassingly long amount of time trying to get sluices to work in order to craft 2 at once. Eventually, some synapses formed and I was able to figure it out. The solution ended up being remarkably simple, but it took me over a day to figure this out. A half-motivated monkey with a limp could have figured this out in half the time. Next, I smelted myself a new tool. I used the steel I had in excess in order to craft myself a sledgehammer. This works exactly like the shovel, but on rocks. That night, out in the cold wilderness, I found what looked to be evidence of human civilization, but there was no human beings living here. They might have left, or they might have been killed. I don't know. All I knew is that I would have to keep looking if I wanted to find some nutritious food. Traveling a little further, I didn't find a vampire biome or any more signs of humans. But what I did discover is the woods near my house do tend to contain quite a few cows. These are not very nutritious, but they do have a lot of blood in them, meaning I need fewer of them to fill up my hunger bar. I didn't bother with these ones though, as they were a little too far from my home, and I needed the leather. Seeking shelter from the sun which was rising in the distance, I headed down into a little cave, and managed to find an abundance of silver. I decided I would go further into the cave to see if I could get enough to make myself a full armor set and end my nudity. The reward for my spelunking was a hell of a lot of copper and silver. Now I just needed to smelt it all. An extremely exciting process, I assure you. Sadly, I hadn't found enough silver for a full set, but I was able to at least make a chest plate. Now that no one could tell how cold I was feeling all the time, I decided to head outside with my dainty umbrella in search of a blue flower. I'm so dainty and beautiful. 1 blue flower, that's all I'm asking for. 5 minutes from my house, I stumbled across a small enclave. There were no people here, but there were 2 abandoned cows, and I certainly wanted to bring them home. They're not as nutritious as human beings, but they do have a lot of blood in them. Plus, additional options for my food supply won't go amiss. I left them for now and headed out. As night had fallen, I was able to fly. I was still surveying for my blue flower, but I noticed that right here we appear to have an amethyst geode. I have plenty of amethyst bronze at this point, but this is going to be helpful for magic later. Also, I should briefly mention why I'm looking for a blue flower. It's possible for me to enchant my sledgehammer, but I need all of these ingredients to do it. Only thing I'm missing, of course, is the blue flower. While I was flying about, I came across another one of those dragon tombs. And this one, a little more interesting than the others, as some of the enemies have appeared to have spawned outside. By simply flying around and walking on the treetops, we appear to have earned the aggression of some evil dog of hell and Arthas the Death Knight. Have any arrows? I don't have any arrows. Let's see if they hit hard. Oh yeah, they hit. Bravely taking a sudden political stance of pacifism, I decided to run away, and in so doing, found a tavern. This was my first real source of civilization thus far. Humans! Yes! Excellent! Hello, Squire. Thank you. Oh wait, is that... It followed me all the way here. The discovery of these humans leads us to a possibility of a breeding program at some point in the future, so I made sure to grab the wheat while I was here. Upstairs, in a bedside table, I managed to find 2 maps of interest. Not really sure where they go, but they apparently lead somewhere. I'll probably look into them later. Bloody hell! Well, after that, I'm gonna need a snack. Oh, where is he? I'm back! Hello! I jotted down the location of the tavern and kept moving, almost straight into the belly of this hungry young ice dragon, who luckily happens to be sleeping right now. I think the main reason I hadn't had any trouble with the nearby dragons at this point was because all of the ones that I happened to come across were always sleeping. I think they tend to sleep during the night, which is when I'm most active. Just before morning, I ran into another tower filled with grey people. I was also being chased by phantoms, as you can hear. I usually ignore these, but this time I'm glad I didn't. I found something rather rare. This orange carrot-looking thing can apparently be turned into 32 arrows. This is brilliant because it's going to save me quite a lot of time gathering the arrows myself. So I yoinked those and also the magic powder that we'll later use for blood magic. With those in my pockets, I was getting hungry and it was time to head home. Lunchtime. Hello, bacon. How are you? It's just me, or are they giving less now? Oh, Marvin escaped. Ah! What has happened? Marvin? Oh, you're there. How did this happen? I don't understand. I later came to realize the likely cause of the repairs I suddenly had to do was that a fire had probably started. Was it caused by the lava that was right next to the wooden floor? Possible, but I think it was more likely Marvin. He told me that before he came to live with me, he'd been locked up in a state penitentiary for 6 separate accounts of arson. I asked him how he was able to light fire to things without having thumbs, and he simply didn't respond. Anyway, I was able to lure the animals back inside with the use of produce. I should probably have lured Marvin back into the pen as well, but I forgot. Now you lot stay put. I don't know who blew this hole in the side of my house. It wasn't me. After that was done, there was no time to waste. I needed to head back outside in search of that blue flower. Seeing a few flowers, there must be some cornflowers around here, surely. Maybe it's the wrong season, I'm not sure. Kinda hard to tell in this woodland. It's just winter all the time, except sometimes it's snowing worse. I traversed the snowy plains and fought off legions of sky bastards, only to run into a group of vampire hunters during the night, but this chance encounter came with a discovery. Oh, hello. What did he just drop? What did he drop? Ah! A vampire book! Yes! We can use that to level up! Brilliant! Oh, very good. Very good to know that. Allow me to clarify. It would seem that the elite vampire hunters drop vampire books. These are extraordinarily rare relics that are used in the process of improving my vampire abilities. They're basically one of the ingredients I need for the rituals. So this is good. Learning this means I'll be able to level up more. Look at all this snow. This whole area I live in, this whole country is just surrounded by white nonsense. While I was traveling, I found another dragon over there on the mountainside. He too was asleep, reinforcing my theory that dragons always sleep at night. Just as my arms were starting to get a bit tired, I came across what appeared to be some kind of flower biome. Literally all this biome is a place where flowers grow, and I still couldn't find my bloody flower. It's like every flower in existence here except the one that I need. This is bollocks. Eventually I left, and in the biome right next door, I found my flowers. Very annoyed to have spent so long on a quest that was literally just find a damn flower, I got home and enchanted my sledgehammer, finally. I was apparently also starving to death. Again. Yes, that's literally how long I was spending looking for the damn flower. And thanks to that amount of time I had wasted, I decided to head straight into a nearby cave to get what I need. Most important of which was silver, of course, for fashion reasons. But I also grabbed a few other things that I might need. After gathering what valuables I might want, I then focused on deep slate to fill out my inventory. And thanks to that bloody worthwhile mining session, I was able to fix the damn floor! And finally, I could stop tripping over things. It's only been like 2 weeks. Finally remembering to do this while it was still dark, I also headed upstairs to check what I needed to level up. Okay, what do we need? We need 10 human hearts, and we need pure blood too. Okay. Thankfully, vampiric pure blood is something I have in good supply, but the human hearts is definitely a problem. I only had 2 left, and in order to get more, I had to find a vampire land, something we've been searching for, but had no luck so far. The following day, with my repairs done, I had a look at the maps I'd managed to steal. One was a Badlands map, and the other one was a miner map. Both seem to be very far away from where I am right now, but it did occur to me it might be a good excuse to go out and try and find a vampire representative. Before leaving though, I wanted to stock up on supplies, and one of those supplies was flint. I needed it to upgrade my furnace and also make some more arrows. Later I was looking for gold, and I stumbled across something that was very odd. I suddenly noticed the ground beneath my feet was bricks and not just deep slate. Wait, deep slate bricks? Lapis? Into darkness? Underground crypt. Right, whoa. Oh, yep, they're aggressive. Whoa, let's go. Whoa, oh right. Well, that was exciting. Finding myself in the crypt, I really wished I wasn't almost naked. I wish I'd spent the time to finish off my armor before coming down here. I wasn't wearing any pants, and apparently my helmet broke at some point. But needless to say, I decided to stay. I decided with my vampire abilities, I probably have a pretty good chance of being able to loot this place without dying. Hopefully. They're quite good at knocking me off stuff. What do I do here? Oh, there's only a few of them actually. Maybe They do hurt though. Right, up we go. Bloody hell. Yeah, these blokes aren't messing around. I knew I didn't have the food to be able to wait until I naturally heal, so I decided to engage one of my vampire abilities. This one regenerates my health. Its caveat though is it drains my hunger even more, but it'll keep me alive while I manage to look around. So what was inside the tomb? Well, it was filled with a lot of spooky undead. These twats seem to pop up whenever you try and open one of the coffins. Can't a man grave rob in peace anymore? God, I hate this oversensitive modern era. I might not have had much vampire food, but I did find some human food, namely golden apples. These don't restore my hunger at all, but they can still be used for the buffs they provide. Begone, Spectre! As for the loot in the tomb, well, there was valuables, books, and pearls, which was very interesting. I needed those to enchant my sledgehammer further. As for enemies, well, there was some cultists. I didn't really chat with them very much. I just shot them from a distance. Bravely. The main bulk of enemies seemed to be made up of zombie dudes, who were just sitting around every corner and took a good stabbing before they would go down. And then of course there was the snowflake ghost that would attack me whenever I would grave rob. Probably the best thing I found down there was some rather odd iron equipment with really strong enchantments. Like for example this pickaxe here with Fortune 3. Oh, and I also found some books, yes. Which is great because I was thinking about enchanting stuff but didn't have the literature. The final thing I found down there was a book with apparently lore in it. I didn't take too kindly to that. Checking my watch, it was now apparently the night of day 118. I'd pretty much looted the whole tomb by now, and was also starving once again. So decided to head home. First thing I did when I was back was make some trousers. It was about time. Oh, and some shoes. Walking around on ice and broken glass is definitely a good way to keep yourself awake, but not so nice if you want to relax. Anyway, I popped upstairs for a quick McRib, and then popped downstairs to grab myself some shears. It was time to shave Marvin. I needed 1 wool in order to be able to craft myself a diamond umbrella. A diamond umbrella is the same as a normal umbrella, but it has much more durability. Problem was, if you remember some days ago, Marvin had been a terrorist and destroyed part of the house. And ever since then, he's been outside of the pig pen. He's had total freedom to walk around the house as he pleases. But now that Marvin's rent was due, he was suddenly nowhere to be seen. Where are you, Marvin? Oh, he might have roasted himself. They have a tendency to do that. Yep, he roasted himself. Oh, good job, Marvin. You're dead. Good news, though. In death, Marvin managed to drop the exact amount of wool I needed to finish my umbrella. I then took a moment to fill in the safety hazard so that hopefully animals would stop roasting themselves on my property. And it was now day 119, and I was heading outside to go and get the damn cows that lived nearby. I was a bit annoyed that I hadn't managed to find any humans to drink from yet. I mean, there's that tavern nearby, but that's a ways away. One of the things I found in that tomb was some slime balls, so I was able to make some leads to bring these juice boxes home. It was a pain in my hemoglobin, to be honest, but by nighttime I'd managed to get them both indoors. Lovely edible cows. Oh, they're still not... They have a lot of blood in them, but they're still very slow. It's day 120. We've got cows for food. We've also got a secondary food source of pigs. None of these are particularly good. We want humans. We also need hearts in order to level up. We managed to find a vampire book, which is awesome, but we need hearts. I then channeled my inner librarian and started building myself a library. This would increase the level of enchants I had available, and therefore we can get things done a bit faster. So this morning, on day 120, I've gotten myself corrective lenses. This has allowed me to see much farther than before. And there's something very interesting up there. I think that's a village. I can't believe I didn't come across it before, but there's a few floating things in the sky. And I think that one there is a village. It's snowing at the minute, which is nice.
Aurora Borealis?
I found my much-desired villagers up in the sky base, and immediately tried to chain them so I could carry them home. Unfortunately, it's not possible. So after draining this man, I headed home and devised a new plan. The plan was to once again build a great Atlantic railway that would carry my friends, to my home. Firstly, though, I needed a shelter to put them in once they arrived. Last thing we want is for them to arrive and then get eaten by something. By day 122, I'd finished building the human pen and got started on the rails. The plan was thus: we make a railway that goes down to the ice lake, we can then boat them south, and then connect a second railway over to the floating village. Building a railway happens to always be fraught with peril, as I learned when I was attacked by a giant recluse spider. What the sweet Lord Jesus is that? What on earth? A spider lunger. Ooh. No, I say no. By day 123, my nipples were hurting and I was out of redstone. As luck would have it though, there was a nice little cave nearby and I was able to restock my pockets. Also, I happened to find a blighted goblin trader in that cave. Very unusual find, and his name was Razmataz Jim. Razmataz Jim actually sold me a whole bunch of iron which I needed to make more rails. So he's a very nice guy. Oh, and I finally remembered that I was supposed to be doing something with blood spells, and looking into the situation, found I was actually able to create my first spell book. This flimsy journal only has 5 spell slots, but it will get us started. I will quickly mention that I do know I have this, but I thought it'd be more interesting if we go through the progression system rather than just having this book that I found. So, we're gonna use the flimsy journal. We're gonna flims it up. Oh, it's a flimsiness. Now, despite the flimsiness of my journal, it still had 5 spell slots to its name, which is more spells than I even have, so it'll do. I looked into finding more spells, but it looks like to make blood spells, we need blood. And unlike my vampire juice that I keep drinking, this stuff is only made by boiling people in a specific cauldron that I can't build, unless I go back to the Nether. Which I didn't really want to do. I don't like the Nether, it smells. On day 126, the railway was mostly done. I just had to figure out a way to hook it round so that I can get underneath where our villages are. Okay, I'm blind. Why am I blind? Hello, why am I blind? Was I looking at the sun? Is it a turtle? Was it the turtle that blinded me? Now that the railway itself had been finished, I now had to just figure out a way to get up there and get the humans out. Once it was nighttime, I hovered back up at a snail's pace to try and figure out their exact positions. And once it was morning, I built the villagers a little landing zone. The plan was to have them skydive down and into the nice bath where they would be carried away by the railway. I decided I would save the skydiving lessons for tomorrow, and headed home under cover of darkness. Just inside the foyer, there happened to be 2 frost trolls in one of the rooms. Now, naturally, my first thought was I should keep them as pets. But wouldn't you believe it, the one time I have frost trolls in my foyer, and I don't have any bloody name tags. So unfortunately, they're going to despawn. What's going on? Oh, they're doing the old face-off, eh? Yeah. What is happening? Am I witnessing a troll debate? Save it for the parliamentary discussions, people. This is not the proper forum for this. Settle down. This is my house. Get out of here. Go on. Well, they're non-aggressive now. They seem to have redirected their aggression towards each other. I then gave our good friend Mr. Periwinkle here a little nudge, and he went for his first skydiving lesson. Oh, yes. Perfectly calculated. Yes, indeedy. Once Mr. Periwinkle was on his way, I followed him all the way back to the base just to make sure he didn't, get eaten or something on the way. I did have a little bit of trouble with the second part of the transport, which was removing him from the ice lake and putting him onto the second railway that goes to the house. My main concern was I was worried as soon as I broke the boat he would try to flee, and then my minecart abandoned me as well. No, it took a few hours of the day, but eventually I wrangled that little gremlin and got him safely into his cage. Yes, he's in. Oh, thank God. Now, powered rail. That's all we need. And then we just push him up. And there we go. Oh, I keep forgetting I can't fly at daytime. There he is. He made it. A man with very little blood. It was about that time it occurred to me I should put a roof on my little shelter here, lest he be eaten by some of the giant spiders or other gremlins that live nearby. I didn't need to get fancy with it. He's just a villager. But I at least wanted him alive so I could drain his blood and stuff. And look at this cute little guy. He's so happy to be here. And we're gonna lock him in. As soon as it was nighttime and I had my bat form restored, I floated back to the island, pushed our friend's wife off the top, and then stabbed this grey man to death. I will say most of Jimothy's transport went well, apart from the bit at the end. That's it. He's in. Jimothy, welcome to the program. That's my boy. Oh crap. Oh, he's gonna get a concussion. I forgot to open up the thing. Oh wait, or maybe it'll just suffocate him slightly. I'm not sure which is gonna happen. He's either gonna get a concussion, or he's gonna get suffocated ever so slightly and come back down to us. Sounds like a zombie just got him. How did a zombie get in here? I left the gate open like a moron. Oh, you testicle. And now poor young Jimothy and Henry are both zombies. Great. Love that for us. Now, luckily, I did have the reagents required to cure them both of their zombie illness. But it was annoying, and I was not happy about it. And while those two are turning from zombies back into humans... Actually, do we even bother dismantling the railway? I don't know. What are you holding? What is this? Psycho? It's currently day 131. No trolls in the foyer today. It's a shame I couldn't name tag those men. Would have been cool. On day 132, I decided it's time for more exploring. We're gonna try and go a decent distance away this time. And we're not gonna get distracted by stupid caves. Or I should say that was the plan, until I noticed that there's a blighted mob over there. I couldn't tell what it was though, so I made a little tower, and found it to be a blighted giant huntsman spider. Okay. No. I'm getting the hell out of here. We've decided against going west. Instead, we're gonna go south. Because there's a giant blighted wolf spider. I really needed human hearts or vampire books. And the reason why is I'm sick of being a low-leveled vampire. It's about damn time I get some recognition as the vampiric overlord I've always wanted to be. Easier said than done though, as my travel was consistently interrupted by the presence of fire dragons, and ice dragons, and even lightning dragons. Oh my... Okay. Completely surrounded by dragons on all sides, I ended up having to take refuge in a cave and found something quite interesting. It was an ancient wrought knot. It's not every day you stumble across one of these on the walk to the shops. And it was then I noticed, not only that, but this cave also happens to house an entire ancient city. So my spelunking has unexpectedly bore fruit. And to think I was just down here escaping dragons. This might be the only time in history where cave diving's proven useful. Far be it from me to judge the cave diving influencers who seem to love crawling into places called the Devil's Death Sphincter with confusing enthusiasm. But anyway, as I was rationing my hearts and was now starving to death in this cave, I decided to build a waystone and placed it just outside the night boss thing. This is, the night guy cave spider place. That's the one. The Night Guy Cave Spider Place. We're 2,691 blocks from Sangria. Nice. And now we're home. Let's get some blood on us. Oh, and it's just the morning of day 134, it seems. Oh wait, the humans! We have humans to drink from. What am I doing over here on the cows? Humans! Oh, my precious, precious humans. You're like children to me. How are you enjoying your quarters? Oh yeah, these guys are so much more efficient. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage. As can naturally happen, I managed to lose my pants in that cave, so I've made some new ones. These are enchanted diamond pants that give me a hell of a lot of bonus health. They have a vitality buff on them. I feel like I've just had an orange after 6 kebabs and 12 beers. Health is my passion. I also then enchanted my chest plate. I got an enchantment called Inner Strength. Goodbye, depression. Why did no one tell me I have the wrong skin on? I've had it on for hours. Damn it. This is not a vampire. This is just a man with some kind of serious eye alignment problem. Oh, and the villagers appear to have procreated while I wasn't looking. So that's nice. On day 135, I finally remodeled the goon cave. Replaced all the dirty floor and the grub-filled walls to spruce this place up a little bit. By nighttime, I'd felt the call to adventure again and went back to our beautiful cave, headed outside, and I forgot about the lightning dragon. Volcano or something over here. Ooh, that is definitely a lightning dragon that's seen me. Oh, thank God I got into a cave. Oh, I feel like that happened last time. I forgot. It's the same thing. Same thing just happened. Am I a moron? Yes. Yes, I am. Even after I'd escaped, I was still seeing lightning flying through the rocks. So I decided to stay in the cave that night. One of my better decisions. Instead, I nipped down to the ancient city that was below us. I thought I'd have a peek in a few chests and see if I can't figure out how to not summon the warden. I'm very bad at it. With the clever use of some wool I gathered from nearby, and a little bit of education from people who are much better at this game than me, I managed to figure out that if you build the wall, the sound can't travel through it, and was able to grab the valuables safely. And even got one of these ancient book thingies. You need a bunch of ingredients I don't currently have, but hey, maybe I'll make that. Maybe. I also found some rune stones, a poison immunity ring, and several other valuable things like name tags. Lastly, I also found these echo shard things. They can be used in spell crafting to craft legendary spells. I don't actually know if there are any legendary blood spells, but if I want to make one, I need to have this. Once daylight broke, instead of risking it by going outside in front of the lightning dragon mouth, I decided to head home quickly. And the following evening, I continued my explorations, this time flying high enough such that the lightning dragon couldn't smell me. On day 137, I finally found what I'd been looking for. It's quite hard to tell, but it's that little dead patch of blackness over there. Or at least I thought I had. I thought this dark, gloomy place on the horizon was going to be the vampire land I've always wanted, but instead it was just a stupid old shattered glacier. Shattered like my dreams and hopes and kneecaps after I forgot to pay the Minecraft Mafia that one time. Persistence is gonna be key. And I found another dark-looking land off in the distance. Another possibility for success. And this time, not only did I find a bunch of human beings with far too much blood in their bodies, but I was also rewarded with the beautiful land of the vampires. Oh, I'm finally home! Ah yes, the beautiful, pale-faced, knife-wielding people of my homeland. Interestingly, there was also a Greek-looking temple nearby. I actually know what this is. It's a dungeon. Down below, we can find gorgons, who can turn anything instantly to stone. So I'm gonna be careful and not go down there. I also found Mr. Depth Perception nearby. He has a bunch of sheep, so if I want to get wool, I can find it in there. But it's these guys here who are the most interesting part of this land. From them, we can get royal vampire blood, and allegedly, more vampire books for leveling. And the final mechanic of the vampire lands is that I can be here without dying. Look, I can even go into bat form. It's currently daytime, and I can fly around. Because the vampire lands are surrounded by a magical entity known as the vampire fog, and allows vampires to live here without trouble. Look, go right out into the sun. Oh, I love it. I love being in the sun. Not in real life, of course. Naturally, I wasn't going to be hiking back here every 15 minutes, so I decided to place a new waystone right by the wasps. On day 140, I managed to get enough hearts to be able to level up. As a reminder, this ritual can only be performed at night, requires some pure vampire blood, human hearts, and a vampire novelette. And with that, I was now able to get myself to a sprightly level 9. Yes, fill me. Yes! Oh, love me that sangria. From that level up, we got 2 skill points, which I decided to spend on blood vision. I can see living things around me through blocks. Main reason I got it though is because next level would be able to get a permanent attack damage increase, and me like do more damage. But sadly I was now out of vampire books again. I needed another one if I want to get to level 10. So I thought I'd quickly head back to the vampire land, see if I can't find another. Now, I had thought that the best way to get vampire books out here was to stab vampire barons in the mouth. Problem was, I really don't know what the drop rate is. I killed maybe 4 or 5 of them, and I got nothing. Now, over to the west, I found a strange building that caught my eye. And inside, I found a bunch of vampire collectibles, including a full tank of blood, which is nice. I'm sure that was ethically acquired. But much more arousingly, I found a vampire novelette in one of the chests. I did not know this was a thing. Oh yes, a book! Hey! How about that? What is this? What is this little tower? I didn't know these things existed. There weren't many other valuable things in that place, but the book was brilliant. And I also stole the cranberry juice. So this has been quite the discovery. There apparently exist POIs in the world where vampire books can spawn in chests. This is good to know, because I've had piss poor luck trying to find them as drops, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, and I also found this thing in the vampire tower. And this is what it does. It holds things. It's my most valuable possession. Day 141 and 142, I just did a little bit of admin, including finishing off labeling my bloody chest so I stop forgetting where the tea kettle is kept, and then also replacing the wooden floor that sits right next to the lava. I was getting a bit sick of putting out all the fires, you see. It then occurred to me I should put these damn villagers to work. If I put this compost bucket down, I believe one of those villagers over there should turn into a farmer, and then they'll feed themselves and reproduce. That's how babies are born. Now, I had an idea to expand my villager operations. Having them all cooped up in one small pen with only a farmer to keep them company is a bit sad. But in order to expand the building, I would need more stone or deep slate to build with. While gathering, I curiously kept on finding these sapphires. I decided to explore my curiosity and look at what they're used for. Ice Dragon Summoning Crystal. Oh. Right-click on a dragon to bind it use when bound to teleport dragon. Them some good words right there. Far more startling than the lack of parentheses, though, was my constant encounters with spiders larger than my student loan debt. Nope. Oh, no. Screw that. First of all, I used the stone I found to finish off the walls of my basement, and then with the use of my fanciful umbrella, went outside to gather some lava, and used it to refill some portions of the lava moat. The hope is that with the lava moat around the outside, it'll stop giant spiders from crawling in. Unfortunately, I'd been working so hard over the past few days, I neglected my blood meter and managed to start starving again. Weakened by my lack of food, I then had to crawl over to the human pen, only to find that they'd created a friend. At first, I thought since he was spawned by my villagers, he'd be friendly. Sadly, this golem loves kicking starving people in the kidneys, and so I had to fight unconsciousness through my starvation, chop a tree to grab blocks, and then when I returned, ready to kill the golem, he'd wandered off further, so I was able to just sneak my way inside. Whew. Right. Who's spawning golems in here? Wait, you're all going to bed again? I swear every time I come in here, you go to bed. Thank you for the blood. There we go, we're all filled up. We're gonna have to separate these men from the outside world, because if there's monsters nearby, they'll summon golems. So maybe we'll make this place wider or thicker or something. Deeper. Deeper is a good idea. In the morning, I met a man called the Nightmarish Crab. I never saw him after this moment, but he had a great name, so I thought I'd mention him. What are you doing here, the Nightmarish Crab? Oh, you do have 4 eyes. It's kind of weird. It's 2 more than you need. While I was planting some trees that I was going to use for wood later, I managed to get popped in the mouth by our friend. Not as dangerous as I thought. Checking in on the villagers, our boy Fred the farmer has decided to start selling vegetables. And if I'm correct, he'll start feeding the others too, which will result in more children. So, I needed more room for these villagers. The problem was, I didn't want to spend 8 years building a new railway or anything like that. So I just set about dismantling part of the enclosure. The idea is, instead of moving these guys to different places, we'll just send them downwards. We'll build a city, a great underground city, and turn these people into mole men. In fact, we managed to gain 2 volunteers while I was just digging away. So they are going to be the progenitors of our great mole race. I sealed them in and began digging. Rationally, at some point in the future, my great sledgehammer is going to break, and probably quite a few times. So I knew it was probable I'd have to go into the Nether later to get myself some more cobalt to repair this thing. As I've said before, I'm not a big fan of the Nether, so I really didn't want to, but as the days are flying by, it's becoming more and more necessary. If I recall, I then started going a bit mad and invented some kind of law where the top layer villagers consider themselves to be higher class. Upper class, snooty types. Unlike those stinky bottom layer villagers. Just down there in the dark, reading. Disgusting. Moving on from the extremely prejudicial class system I apparently have invented, I decided to get cracking on a new project. I suddenly realized it makes no sense at all that I appear to have a second floor balcony, but no second floor. This balcony just exists on its own, in isolation, like me. But we can solve it. We can just build a second floor. I started by throwing a little deep slate around the outside, because originally I thought this would be a good floor material. I also finally got round to fixing the damn hole in the back of the house. It's now day 146, and I've just filled the gaping hole. I had changed my mind about using deep slate for the floor upstairs. Instead, I wanted to use these cursed logs. They have a very pretty dark blood red wood color, and I think it'll look pretty good in my foyer. I tried to plant some of these trees at home, but the cursed trees seem to be a subspecies of the regular dark spruce tree that also exists in the Vampire Lands. I didn't know if it was a chance-based thing or if they can only spawn in the Vampire Lands. I checked on the lower class peasantry and found them to all be sleeping happily, and most importantly to still all be alive. I'm actually here for food. Thank you, Jebediah. I don't really want my free-range humans to start developing rickets, so the plan was to give them plenty of space down there. The overarching idea is to create what is essentially an upside-down pyramid. Instead of building a big triangle on top of the land, you instead dig it under. That should give me plenty of space to develop whatever society I would like. And with a thriving society, hopefully I'll get tastier blood. On day 147, I got started on my upstairs, and in the evening, after some dinner, in a convenient timing, I was assaulted by a horde of vampire hunters. Usually, being human beings, they can open doors and get through. Unfortunately for them, though, they haven't quite developed the prefrontal cortex sophistication required to be able to duck underneath a single trapdoor. Channeling my vampiric rage for the smooth brains, in the morning I had a significant amount of human hearts and vampiric accessories to choose from. Being a rather simple creature myself, I mainly just chose whatever ones would give me either more speed or more damage. Getting back inside, another troll had made its way into my home, and this one had managed to get stuck in my ritual altar. I picked up a name tag from downstairs and named her Penelope. So Penelope is now trying to beat me to death with a large stick. Ever since those trolls were staring each other down in my foyer, I had a hope that another troll would spawn inside, so that I could name tag it and tie it up outside to defend my house. The only problem I had, besides the rampant concussions that were gradually turning my brain into a soupy substance, yes, the only other problem was that I completely forgot one main fact about trolls. They turn to stone in the sunlight. How did I forget this? I spent like 20 minutes trying to get this girl outside, and now she's just T-posing at me. Cool. I did learn something, though. Apparently I was able to push Penelope by standing behind her at certain angles. So I slowly but surely pushed Penelope all the way around to the front of the house, at which point I dug her up a little plinth to stand on. It wasn't my original intention, but I do think it looks quite cool. Penelope is going to guard the house one way or another. Only problem, of course, is that she's a little lonely by herself, and I now had to get another one in order to preserve symmetry. As a blood moon began to rise on day 149, I thought it was about time that I level up once again. I thought I only needed 10 hearts for this, but turns out I needed 15. I was 1 heart short. Don't you hate it when you only have 14 human hearts and you need 15? But I remedied this by going over to the nearest vampire hunter encampment and giving the men there a swift kick in the groin. And I was now vampire level 10. We're in the double digits. That surely demands some level of respect and friends. Lovely. 3 skill points. Permanent attack damage. Gotta be it, doesn't it? But this is useless to me. I like that. Yep. Attack damage. Looks like level 11 requires 15 human hearts, pure blood level 3, and another vampire novelette. I spent day 150 building, and as such needed to get more materials the following day. During which, I got very excited upon finding this. Vampires. A vampire spawner. Oh, hello! Oh, yes! I'm a lucky boy. Regeneration, slightly increased speed. Moderately increased speed, slightly decreased damage. Okay. How are we? Sorry, I stabbed that first bloke. One of the reasons I needed to restock was because my armor broke again, and my no-fun neighbors kept on calling the police because I was walking around without trousers. I had been continuing to feed my cows, by the way. I wanted to increase the size of the herd. I wasn't using them for blood anymore, but later I'm going to be using them for meat. I'll leave it as a bit of a surprise, but we're going to be doing something quite exciting in a bit. The following day, I chopped down all the trees that had grown near my house. None of them had turned into cursed trees. I don't know how that mechanic works, but I assume it's something to do with the vampire lands themselves. And being out here in the tundra is not conducive towards cursed trees. But the regular dark spruce trees are actually pretty cool themselves. They provide this kind of gothic-looking wood. And as we all know, goths are... they're pretty good. Oh! Hello! Thanks for stopping by. Right next to the vampire woods, I managed to find my first actual village. But other than stealing the beds and glorping a few villagers, there wasn't really much to do. None of the villagers had jobs. They're all just lazy. The person I'm looking for is a vampire representative. They offer vampire-specific quests and can give vampire-specific rewards, including human hearts. This tends to be the easiest way to get lots of human hearts, other than just buying them from vampire salesmen. We need to find a vampire totem. This will indicate that the village is owned by vampires and will spawn vampire-specific traders. The main thing holding back my progress towards finding one of those was the presence of giant fire-breathing lizards. And I'm not really one to throw down with giant lizards over a pork scratch and half a bag of toast. So whenever I saw a dragon that was awake and incinerating villagers, I just kept on moving. I'm one to mind my own business, especially when it comes to not being boiled. Later in the night, I managed to find a really strange village. It was filled with vampire hunter houses, but only one vampire hunter trainer. I tried to stab him, but he proved resistant. What I did find, though, was our beautiful, unclaimed vampire totem. Actually, this is technically also a hunter totem. It's unclaimed at the moment, so it doesn't belong to either faction. But I was able to break it and steal the base. It's unusable without a top. And the top is quite hard to craft, but it can be done. I just have to sacrifice one of my potential levels. The hope is that if I make it, I'll eventually make my money back, but it might take some time. Oh, and just to highlight the dangers of exploring, there's 2 dragons over there eating each other's eyes. Nearly every village I've seen tonight has had a dragon nearby. It's been good. But the finding of a totem means I can technically found my own vampire village instead of having to constantly try and find one. I just need enough space in here to be able to develop it. So I'm basically going to become mayor of a vampire village. Yes, I'll be breaking away from vampiric stereotypes and this time getting involved in real estate and politics. It's never been done before. In one of the villages during the night, I managed to find a rotten egg. Apparently these have a small chance to spawn chicken things. So I thought I'd give it a go. Oh my god, it worked! Yes! Oh yeah, only problem is he's gonna get very annoyed by my undead friends. You there? Stop. Okay. Why did he make that noise? Like he transformed into a parasite. You stay there. Calm down. We're gonna have to give him a name. Glorpmeyer. Calm down, Glorpmeyer. Behave yourself. Actually, speaking of last night, I did also nick a few dragon scales from the dragon who happened to die in that fight. I got some red scales and was able to make myself a helmet and some boots. I wasn't a high enough level to be able to enchant them to max yet though, so they're going in the storage chest. I then decided what I would do with my vampire village is create a great tower thing with a big hole in the middle. There'll be 2 top layers, and then I'll send the village children down into the hole. A good old-fashioned orphan hole. I have put some fences up around the hole, though, to stop any unwanted transitioning between the classes. Anyway, I decided a few layers down there would be a massive open area, and that's what's gonna house our vampire village. And so I spent the next good while digging out the earth, increasing the depth and making sure I had enough room for what I wanted. I spent quite a few days on the project, and when I finally returned home, I found that my child had grown up. Oh, Glorpmeyer! You've grown up! You're a big boy. Now, I mentioned that I really didn't like going to the Nether, as it smelled. But the problem was, I was consistently running out of durability on my sledgehammer. It simply wasn't possible to continue digging with my current tools and resources, and within the short few days I've been digging, I've managed to run out of both cobalt and steel, meaning I have nothing left to repair my sledgehammer with. Also, there was another problem. Because I hadn't lit up the big hole that I've been digging, it seems to have got completely filled with spiders. As well as Adrian Draxwind over here, who I believe is a Sonic OC. And so I reached a point where eventually I needed more cobalt to repair my hammer with. And so I had to bite the bullet and go back to the smelly old Nether. Oh, Jesus! Okay. Ow! There's a cactus right in front of my eyes. Can I stab this man? It looks like I can. I'm gonna stab him. No. Come here. Get stabbed, nerd. Whoa. Bad pig. Don't you know I'm a vampire? Oh, you dropped hog skin. We could make a new spellbook with that. Finding what I needed didn't take too long, but I thought I'd spend a little more time here just to scope out my surroundings. I also grabbed some glowstone in order to light up the damn spider hole. Okay, let's head back. This place sucks. Oh, a fire gremlin. The carrots are a very good trade. This is a good source of emerald right there. Yeah, let's trap you in here. Wait, hang on. I don't know if he'll stay forever, but hopefully he will. I used the hog skin that I got in order to make myself a new spellbook. This spellbook can hold up to 10 spells, which is kinda useless really, because I only have 2 spells. But since we've gone back to the Nether anyway, if I find an ancient battleground, I'll be able to make a cauldron to boil people down and make some more blood spells. As you do, I suppose. With my new cobalt and my extra lighting sources, I headed back down into the basement. I'd managed to stop the spider spawning, but it was still very dark down here. On the morning of day 162, I was hearing some very strange sounds coming from upstairs as I was making repair kits for my sledgehammer, and I decided to go up to investigate, only to find I've apparently been invaded by dragon minions. And they wanted my eyes. A dread ghoul? And they're killing my cows! What? Ah! What is going on? Why is he killing? What are you doing? Okay, that guy over there has problems. The scuttler thing. What has happened here? What is this? I'm fighting for my life in my own cow pen. This shouldn't happen. What the heck was that? What happened to the giant spider? Oh no, there it is. What are these things? And what did I get from killing them? Thank you for your sacrifice. Getting murdered by those people. I'm sorry, I have no idea what just happened. We were just assaulted by dread liches or something. Oh, and the spider's here now. Yes. Good to see you. Ow. What the hell just happened? Glotmeyer, did you see what happened up there? It's nuts. We've got a lot of our own cow's leather and beef, though, so that's good. Popping back to the Nether after that nonsense, I thought I'd try and find an ancient battleground. And I also took the time to grab some crying obsidian while I was there. The main thing I found was bloody bastions. I found like 5 of them within a small radius. Kinda nuts. Get out of here. What it did allow me to do, though, is gather some blackstone so I could make a teleport portal. Whenever I find the ancient battleground, I'll just teleport home from there. And on day 163, I found it. This is the ancient battleground, and the ancient knights that we need to kill are these little unconscious pieces of armor down here. I thought I wouldn't disturb them just yet and make my portal home first. I want to finish off the village. After all, I'm gonna need mobs to boil, and I'll have plenty of villagers once that's done. Later, I had a new friend turn up. It's another frost troll, and he's beating me to death already. Alright, calm down. Calm down. You might have seen those stone trolls outside. They were like that when I got here. While he was superfying my meager intelligence, I put a wall down and chained him to it. We already had 2 trolls outside and I didn't need a third, but I thought I'd keep him anyway. I may have been heavily injured, but he's now trapped. Okay, so let's name the troll Charles. Here he is. Ow. Calm down, Charles. Alright, now's not the time for this tomfoolery. There's a lot of zombie men down here. For the place that's supposed to be lit up so that nothing can spawn. It's too dark in the middle. That's what it is. Later, during a vampire raid, I was legally defending myself against some hunters, and I found a new source of vampire books. A vampire book! There was a hunter just then, one of these blokes, It just killed a vampire hunter, and it dropped a vampire book. This discovery was kind of crazy. I knew that they could drop them, but I thought it was really rare. Meanwhile, I've seen vampire hunters drop a few of these over the past several weeks, so it might just be that they're much more common than I thought. Only problem is, I am still lacking in human hearts. I don't have a reliable source of them yet, and in order to get to a much higher level, we're going to need a larger quantity. So it's time for me to keep working on the villager situation. If we can get a vampire trader down here, we might be able to buy human hearts or at least do quests for them. But there were still millions of spiders spawning down there, so I needed to light it up a bit more. Seems to be fewer creatures down here now, so that's good. I do think we've lost a couple of villagers. I don't know how, but there definitely used to be more than 4. I think there was like 7 at one point. What happened? I don't know. It's one of life's mysteries. Alright, Charles. How are things? Can we put a fence around Charles, perhaps? Don't worry, Charles. Out. Calm down. Charles. Charles, please. Out. Charles. Okay. Ow. Okay, Charles broke the fence. Let's get some more walls. Charles. Settle down. Charles. Ow. Enough. Enough of this. Charles. Ow! He's beating me like a blancmange. Whoop. There we go. My head injuries due to Charles should now stop. In order to become master of the blood, I'm going to need to develop my blood spells. I've already outlined before that we can boil villagers to get blood, but one of the things we need is a special cauldron, and we can make it after we've fought this man. There he is. Ow. Oh, he hurts. Oh, he hurts bad. Ow. Okay, we got him. So we've got our cinder essence now. How do we make the thing? That? Yep. Okay, we got the alchemist cauldron. I plonked my cauldron down in the soon-to-be villager hole, and then went back to the Nether to get myself some blaze blood, wither skulls, and more glowstone. I also made myself a new waystone so that I could get back here easily. This is a rather large Nether fortress I've found, and I want to get more skeleton skulls to be able to summon the wither if I need to. And now the villager hole should be finished. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time to rest just to make sure that nothing's spawning. Last thing I want is Shelobs ruining my nice warm villager farm. I don't know why I called it warm there. I should probably cut that. Now then, I wanted to get myself some red wool. I really didn't want to redo my entire floor in my house, but I simultaneously was absolutely hating the spruce flooring. So I thought some carpets might be in order. On my way to the sheep, I ran into a camp of hunters and made sure to stab them for the heart. He just singed him. Jumping into the Cyclops lair, which I later learned is extremely dangerous, I found the Cyclops to be unable to move. He appears to be stuck on a fence. This was good for me, because it meant I could paint his sheep without him getting angry and eating me. While I was doing that, the goon squad appeared again, and complete with a few blighted friends. In fact, I very nearly died. I was getting pretty good at dealing with these chaps now, though. I just dug myself a big hole for them to all walk into. And as the sun rose, it happened to be raining, so it was good. I was able to keep stabbing them in the hole while the sun was up. That's it, boys. Everyone stack up. And by the time that the harvest was complete, I'd managed to gain myself a juicy 37 levels. And 21 human hearts. Tasty! I then flew back to breed the red sheep. I did think about making my own sheep farm, but honestly I can't be bothered. As some time has now passed, I decided to check up on the prospective village location, and nothing has spawned down here. So it's about time we start moving some villagers in. There were a couple of possible villager transportation strategies I had in mind. The first was to dig a hole right through and then use a water bucket to be able to send them down. Problem is, I realized I'd be basically waterboarding them for a good 5 minutes until they got deep enough to be able to breathe again. So I elected to choose the far more demure boat strategy to get them in. Oh, sorry. Just in case we saw any creepy crawlies spawning down here, I thought I'd make them some quick, simple houses. This way, with our little stone igloos, hopefully we'll eliminate any possibility for error. And let's be honest, they shouldn't really be complaining about their stone igloos. Most of my villagers simply get a dirty mattress laid on the floor by which they can exist and breed. If only it were possible to get such luxury in central London. But I digress. Next, I removed the beds from Fred's enclosure at the very top. It used to be these beds were occupied back when Fred used to have friends. But one too many late-night Twitter postings, and Fred is now alone. It was now time for me to place down the vampire totem that we'd built. But I was then informed that my villagers are too lazy to be able to make this into a village. We're gonna need more labor. After throwing down a fletching table, I was then able to finish off the procedure. So I assume... Whoa! Angry villager, and he's got a fork. After taking care of the belligerent, the rest of the transition happened rather smoothly. Nearby village has been captured by vampires. Yay! It's the vampire village. Are you excited? Are you excited? Let's celebrate. These guys are all good. Whoa, this guy's glowing purple. Are you becoming a vampire man? He did! Interesting. In a very surprising turn of events, I returned to the top to find that Fred now has friends. And some of them are ghouls. And are draining him of all of his blood. Classic Fred. Aren't you glad, Fred? You've got some friends. Where'd you buy them? What, they're all spawning. Jeez. There's loads of villagers. Outside, in the snows, I found our vampire representative. This is the man who's going to be giving us quests to do. It's hard to say. Quests to do. Right now he has a meager selection of bad quests, I would call them. The rewards for both are just chainmail. Don't know what that's about. I would like some human hearts, please, and make it snappy. Down in the hole, we have our vampire expert. Unfortunately, this man doesn't sell hearts, he buys them and trades them for very weak vampire blood. Not useful at all, but hopefully we can level him up and maybe we'll get something good. Look at these prices. It is obscene. When I woke up on day 171, we had a new troll in our house. I thought he could be friends with Charles. I made a name tag and was just about to name him Sebastian. And then the problem started. Which one's Charles? Oh no! Charles! Get him, Charles! Smack him out! Death. Oh no! Ah! Please tell me that Charles survived. No! Sebastian won! You twat. Noticing that the east side window has been completely shattered by Sebastian's rage.
Kevin, watch the light, dude.
I headed around to try and do some repairs because I was worried he might escape. It was then that he escaped. I tried to lure him back round, but he's already turned to stone. Great. Charles was killed. Sebastian killed him and then was stupid enough to get turned into a stone statue. In order to celebrate my new position as mayor of Vamp Town, I thought I might level up a bit. Funnily enough, this is the exact same thing that all politicians do when they're sworn in.
Oh, Mike, don't say that.
I thought I'd get this cute little pink guy. I don't really know what he is, and I also don't really know what a neonatal form is. But we'll get it so that we can get teleportation next level. Just as I was heading back from chopping wood the following day, I noticed that someone was murdering my villagers, and it wasn't me. Heading inside, I found it to be vampire hunters, and then I noticed at the top that apparently my village is under attack. After tenderizing the two people inside, I then went down and found that was it. It was just those two guys. Well, it was just those two guys that got inside. There was more, but they were outdoors. I took it upon myself to track down and finish off the last assaulters, and in doing so, suddenly realized I wasn't getting roasted by the sun anymore. I'd forgotten that in vampire villages, vampires are immune to the sun. So even though my village is underground, I'm now able to walk around in the sunlight, as long as it's very close to the village. I did some experimentation to figure out exactly how far away I could go from the village, and found it to be about where the lake is. Which isn't bad, really. Early morning on day 173, I was out gathering some wool from sheep and noticed this bloke steadily ambling towards the Cyclops. He was eaten, and this then caused an unexpected and annoying side effect of the Cyclops now being free. So now there's a giant Cyclops roaming around the vampire woods. Great. Now I'm not about to let some giant one-eyed testicle-slinging communist walk around the vampire woods, so it's about time I make myself a new ranged weapon. I've created this Cobalt bow. It's not particularly powerful, but I eventually will be able to stick crystals onto it, and at that point it'll be good. In order to upgrade my bow, I had to spend a couple of days in the Nether, gathering things to be able to do so. I mainly needed blaze blood, which is an ingredient that's used in my furnace, and I've made this new sword that can store it for me. Further down into the fortress, I found a blaze spawner, and made a little ceiling above it so the blazes couldn't escape, and then simply stabbed them until they enjoyed it. The added heat from the blaze blood in my furnace allowed me to melt some special jelly, which I can then pour onto dirt, and that'll give me crystals somehow. Related, all of the fighting and smithing I've been doing had left me a little thirsty, and I made the discovery I can drink from Glorpmire. Glorpmire, you've Thank you, Glotmire. It's like KFC, but for vampires. Anyway, enough about Glotmire's tasty gravy for blood. Going back to the crystal thingy, I need a lot of crystals to be able to level stuff up. In fact, it was beginning to dawn on me that it was probably far more efficient to simply go back to the Nether and find more crystal geodes. That is, instead of squirting jelly onto dirt blocks to make crystals. Yeah, what even is this process? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Although things were very comfortable at the moment, and we've been doing some good work, I was starting to get a bit itchy for something more adventurous. So I decided I'm going to go out tomorrow and kill a dragon. In order to do this, I'm currently gathering quartz, because we can upgrade our axe a single time, and make it a bit sharper. So it's now day 178, and let's go fight a dragon. I need blood. I'm always out of blood. Okay, blood refilled. Thought before I'll go out, I will test the ambrosia. I seem to remember it was very good, but I couldn't remember the specifics. Eating it reminded me that it gives me absorption and strength, both of which are going to be helpful in stabbing a lizard. The environment I live in isn't exactly conducive towards fire-breathing dragons, but that's fine. I don't really like fire anyway. Instead, we're going to find a frost dragon somewhere. The only thing I was nervous about was the fact that I don't have any frost protection, whereas I do have a fire protection ring. I stumbled into a magical tower with spell tables all over the place, so I assumed it belonged to some kind of wizard. Climbing down into the basement, I found the Guna, and it turned out to be a cryo wizard. He casted a bunch of frost spells at me and did very little damage. Stop that. Ow! Okay, axe time. Where's my axe? There he goes. He dropped a lot of supplies for crafting spells, which reminded me I was supposed to be becoming a blood wizard, wasn't I? I just needed to head home and boil some villagers. I decided I would do that later, after we've killed the dragon. What exactly the cryomancer was doing down there in the basement alone, with many different types of inks and lubricants, strikingly high-speed internet, we will never know, but what we do know is that I didn't take a lot of damage while fighting him, which did leaps and bounds for my confidence that we'd be able to deal with this frost dragon. Mounting a nearby ridge, I found one. It was a white-scaled frost dragon that's apparently taken up residence right next to this little tavern, which I thought is handy. If there's any villagers alive in there, I'll be able to drain them after the fight and restore my health. I thought about using my new bow to start the fight, but then I realized I'd basically just be wasting time while I can sneak up on him. He's currently asleep, so I've got the advantage here. All right, Squire. Oh, he's picked me up immediately. Ah. Oh, he's chewing me. I'm doing good damage, though. Don't fly. Oh, I'm getting him. Regenerate, regenerate. I want to crit him. Yes! Got him! Not wanting to get roasted in the sunlight, I quickly headed home. It was now day 179, and I had some dragon scales to make armor with. After making my new armor, I restored some of my blood and then quickly headed back out. I headed back to the Valley of the Dragons, so named after that time I nearly got roasted by the lightning dragon, which I found laying on the ground taking a quite heavy nap. He appears to have been murdered by the nearby fire dragon. They're quite moody creatures, aren't they? Anyway, it's time I tell you about something that I've been cooking. While doing a relatively benign deep slate mining session, I happened to stumble across something amazing. It was a partially cracked open elder dragon nest. Of course, I immediately saved the location using a waystone so that I could come back here. There's a very real possibility if I kill this thing, I can get a dragon egg, and therefore a dragon pet. I was very excited, but also a little bit worried. Now the question is, could I defeat a large dragon like that? If I had full dragon scale armor, I would say yes. I had the dragon scale armor required, but it wasn't enchanted. To get started on that, I got some XP by buying bread, and then thought I'll get started on these vampire quests. By completing quests, I can re-roll them to get better ones. This one gives me some stupid ring, but it has me kill some things which I can get XP from. And not to mention, by killing high-level vampire hunters and vampire barons, there's always the chance that I get a vampire book. Which I did. Yes! Another book! Ow! You had to ruin it, you bloody twats. Yes, another vampire book. See, doing these quests is good. Oh my god, that's very close to breaking. Let's get home. Though I had the book to level up, interest rates are through the roof, and I now need 20 human hearts to level up a single time. So I headed out to stab some men. Yes! Yes! Glop me. Love it. Love it for us. Thanks to that level up, I was finally able to afford our much-awaited teleport ability. So how does that work? Oh. Just like that. In order to try and cure our heart drought so I could reach the next few levels, I thought I might try and re-roll this man by buying all of his vampire maps. I also thought while I'm here, may as well head over to them, see if we can get some more books. I teleported to my vampire forest, which happened to be very close by. Though the little red arrow on the map there was pointing somewhere very specific, so I thought I might head there. And it's taken me here. Wait, what? Has it taken me here? This is the vampire forest it's talking about? This, like, 3 meter by 3 meter segment? What? Oh, that's so dumb. Especially since there's literally a bigger one over there. Wow. Feel so blessed. It is important that we solve this human heart drought, though. We're only 3 levels away from Vampire Baron rank, which is something I desperately want to get to. But for now, we'll put this in the back of our mind and go back to developing our combat abilities. First things first, we need to upgrade our bow. Since we've abandoned this stupid slime dirt method, this is how I'm going to be getting my crystals. Unfortunately, this is a terrible example for me to show you, because there's no damn crystals here, but here we go. I found one. Here we are. These orange-flavored crystals. I can glue them onto my bow, and we'll have a stronger bow somehow. I spent quite a while finding more of these geode things. They weren't hard to find, but I needed a lot of these crystals, and each one only had 2 or 3 farmable crystals in it. Since I was starving to death, I headed home on day 182. I didn't have all the crystals I needed, but I had gotten a few. Thank you, Glopmare. It requires over a full stack of these crystals to get a single power level. It's not that good, but it's something. I'm not going to be spending my entire playthrough gathering these crystals, so this will have to do. I then made a new waystone to put in our vampire village. I recognize this might be evidence of my laziness. The village really isn't that far away, but... Shut up. I then topped up my blood levels using the cows again. I'm on kind of a villager cleanse. Reason being, I actually want to do some trading in our new vampire village, and the extortionate prices I get for draining villagers of their blood is not really working out, so I'm gonna have to be kinder to them. Ugh. Anyway, Waystone. Vampire Village. On day 183, we managed to complete our first vampire quest. I got some stupid ring that had stupid effects, so I tossed it in the hole. But far more importantly, we got a new quest, and this one gives us 8 human hearts as a reward. And all we have to do is stab 4 hunters, which I'm pretty much doing every day anyway. Thanks to the sheer amount of vampire books we have now, and the presence of these quests for hearts, our power was likely to increase rather rapidly. To help catalyze the process, I thought it's about damn time I become a blood mage. I put all my magical things into a little chest next to my cauldron, and then set up a secondary cauldron by which I can gather blood. I wasn't really sure how this boiling process was supposed to work, so I thought I'd test it on some cows first and see if that would work. Right, step in the cauldron. I think he's too big. I kept trying through the day, but by nighttime I was a bit bored. So I thought, Geneva Conventions be damned, we're just gonna boil some villagers. You just happened to sleep in here, didn't you, Bartholomew? Put that there. Oh! Oh! Ugh. Well, we've boiled our first villager. Don't look at me like that. It was an accident. In order to complete my new vampire quests, I needed a reliable source of vampire hunters. My solution was to spend a couple of days exploring until I found one of these. It's a vampire hunter outpost, and within its walls, vampire hunters will continuously spawn so long as I'm nearby. They're very prejudiced like that, but the reason it's so useful is because these named vampire hunters will spawn more frequently. And as we've learned, they happen to drop vampire books at a very good rate. When I wasn't doing quests, I was focusing on building my vampire village. I re-rolled this man until I got a mending enchantment, and then made myself some new armor using the dragon scales we got, and enchanted it using the XP I obtained from murdering vampire hunters. I also cannibalized a few vampire barons because I needed their special blood for leveling up rituals. And I've also used the boiled villager blood to craft myself some new blood spells, like this glorp spell here. It's actually terrible. It does very little damage, but it does heal a lot. Ow! It doesn't keep away the JC Penny altruist, though. All of these things together meant that the infrequency of leveling up was a thing of the past. And it was looking very possible that I might be able to achieve the rank of Vampire Lord before the end of this video. Which I'm very excited about, because it means I get my own vampire minion. It feels so good inside of my body. With all of our recent upgrades, I figured it's time for us to finally fight that dragon in the nest we found. If everything went to plan, me killing this dragon should result in myself obtaining a dragon egg, which I can then hatch and have a dragon child. One of the new spells I've managed to obtain is Summon Dead. It gives me a bunch of minions. After summoning my creatures, I jumped in and started slashing, and immediately fell through the floor because he broke it. Damn it! When I returned, all of my minions were dead, so that was good. Shoot up. I can't hit him. I can hit his feet. Oh my god, my health. Oh! Can I even get out of here? Oh, I got him. Oh, I'm hitting him! Yes! Let's go home. Woo! Let's fill up on blood and go back. I'm still impaled! What is this impalement I keep experiencing? Ow! Ow! I can't move anywhere because of these spikes. Okay, we're just gonna shoot him. Oh, we're hitting him. Whoa, careful. Impaled again. Oh boy. Oh, he's nearly dead. Stab! Flying bat stab! Oh, he's bitten me. I can't see him! Oh, this sucks. Okay, we're draining him. I'm gonna have to shoot him. Oh! My health! Oh, that was horrible. Did not enjoy. He's dead. Well, she's dead, rather. Unfortunately, as it turned out, my pronoun game was actually on point. I was very confused after harvesting the body that I didn't find any eggs. And the reason for this is because it was a male. Ain't no amount of Netflix or massages that could have convinced this guy to grow eggs. I'm so irritated! I mean, I guess I should be proud that it was a hell of a fight and we did manage to kill the dragon. So we got something out of it, but my god. I'm just so depressed. Oh, I'm also starving. Great. I returned home, depressed, but needing to trade with my villagers. I had run out of arrows extremely quickly in that fight. Also, I noticed I have a luck buff. This is due to a blue moon being in the sky at the minute. What it means is I'll get additional loot from chests, so I thought I might go back to that ancient city we've been to before and see what I can find. I didn't find all that much, but I did find some legendary spells. I've decided I can only use blood spells since I'm a vampire, but I can use these to get inks and make more spells that I can use. I might not have been able to make an omelet from the dragon, but I was able to make myself some new armor. I had a good amount of XP to burn too, so I thought I'd enchant it. And I got a fortifying enchantment, which gives me a hell of a lot of health. Oh yes, look at that health. Drunk on my own power, I decided to give the Ferrous Rortnort a go. I think that's how it's pronounced, I'm actually not sure. Summoned my undead friends again, hopefully this time they won't die immediately. I found after waking him up that he was immune to all damage, which didn't look good for me, as I was wondering if there might be some complicated mechanics I'm supposed to understand. All it was though is he sticks his axe in the ground and then you can hurt him. Ah! What? He's dead! What a puss. Next, I turned my attentions to the Dragon Valley. These men had almost killed me a few weeks ago, and so I thought it's time for some payback. Whoa. Oi, don't tag team me. What's that about? I was also secretly hoping that by going dragon slaying, I might run into a dragon large enough to drop eggs. It wasn't very likely, but there was a slim chance. Nerds. Absolute nerds, both of you. There's a bronze dragon, that one. No eggs from either of these blokes. My ambitions led to slaying a lightning dragon next, but the rain stopped and I had to don my umbrella and wait till nighttime. One of the greatest things about getting trapped on this tree was there were gigantic wandering spiders below me with some of the deadliest venom in the entire spider kingdom. I was a lucky boy though, and they weren't able to climb up to me due to the thick tree canopy, and I was able to wait until nighttime unvenomated. But apparently, manners are not something well understood in the spider kingdom. As I engaged the lightning dragon, some of the spiders decided to crawl out of the woods and join in. The giant spider. Can I not fight the giant spider as well, please? Please? It's just about the worst thing ever. There's two of them. Oh, no. And a ghost. While I was cowering in a cave, the undead minions I'd spawned had managed to finish off the dragon, and now I just had to deal with the giant spiders. Oh my god. Please no. Ah! Oh! That was miserable. Dear god, I think I've had that exact nightmare before. Two giant wandering spiders. I spent that entire night with my minions cornering dragons, but didn't get a single egg. Get him, lads! Eat his eyes! What kind of dragon was it? It was a stage 3. Very rare to find more than stage 3 around, but I'm holding out hope. One of the benefits of the horrifying spider encounter I just endured was that I was able to make this sword. It's not terribly powerful, but what it does do is inflict things with a venom that can't be resisted and does 10 damage per second. It's actually pretty damn good if you pair it with a weapon that actually deals damage. The following day, I came across a nice little village off in the wasteland. This was very crucial for my coming plans. And wouldn't you know it, this place actually had a bloody waystone in it. So I was able to quickly save it and head home. Because it is. In order to obtain my next vampire level, I needed 25 hearts. This is a hell of a lot more than the 4 I have in my inventory, so I thought I might try a new strategy of obtaining them. I leveled up this guy, the vampire expert. It's my belief that he can sell hearts. However, he decided not to because he's a bastard. So I had to go back to my tried and tested strategy of killing vampire hunters. I'd already found one of these before, but I forgot where it was, so this time I brought a waystone with me so that I can zip back whenever I need more hearts. Or more murderings if I have a quest to do so. A non-zero number of ethical organ extractions later, and I was able to level up once again. This time to vampire level 14, which I'm told is the maximum level I can obtain. But that's not quite true. I can get to higher levels if I please vampire aristocracy. This is a new quest available to me at level 14, and if I complete all of the tasks, I'll be given a rank of vampire lordship. Which kind of raises the question, who's this guy? And why is he able to bestow vampiric elder god powers? One of the tasks we have to complete is we have to win 3 village raids, which is why our new village is going to come in handy. I didn't mention this before, but this village is actually controlled by the vampire hunters. And so by fiddling with the beacon like this, I'm going to begin a raid. As is normally my experience with Minecraft raids, I spent 2 minutes fighting the raiders and 85 minutes looking for the one remaining raider who's managed to get stuck in a ravine. But eventually I was done, and this was now a vampire village. Next thing I had to do was infect 25 creatures. This was problematic because I didn't know how to do that. I'm not very good at spreading venereal disease, or getting it, I suppose. Eventually, I figured out on my little ability wheel here, I have an infect ability if I'm standing behind something. This trivialized the task because I was able to just infect my herd of cows. I didn't want to infect all of them though, so I headed outside for the rest. After having completed my infection task, I continued exploring in the hopes I would find another village. And after losing my patience 2.5 minutes later, I headed back to the village we just captured and decided to try a cheeky little idea. My idea was if I break a totem, therefore abandoning this village for the vampires, could I then place another totem and it counts as winning a raid? Now, does this count as winning a raid? If so, nice. Yes, captured by vampires. Now, did that count? It did! In which case, abandoned, under attack by vampires. Oh, I feel like this is probably going to get patched, but yes. Now we just wait again. So then that will mean that I now am a vampire baron, or vampire lord. And then we just need gold ingots, pure blood, 0 of... Oh no. Is this saying I need 5 pure blood 5s? That might be a problem. I thought this would cause a problem, but it turned out it didn't. Apparently my powers of divination were settling in, as I had been apparently stocking up on my Pure Blood 5 and had 4 in storage. It's probably nice and warm by now, it hasn't been refrigerated, but oh well. The point is, I only had to murder 1 level 5 vampire baron in order to get all of the blood that I needed. And I was then able to fly in and complete my quest, which rather unceremoniously just dinged and then I was a vampire baron. This unlocked a new skill tree, and all of these skills seem to revolve around my vampire minion. So, where is he? I don't know. I knew I had to claim a minion, so I teleported back to the vampire lands and found out that the Cyclops we had completely forgotten about 50 days ago has gotten so overpowered he's become blighted. Naturally, in a very responsible fashion, I decided to continue ignoring the problem, hoping it would go away, and I ran into a regular vampire that I could potentially claim as my minion. I was then informed by the game that I need a vampire minion binding in order to claim this man as my minion. That's right, even as a vampire baron, you can't claim minions without the proper paperwork. Checking in on my now blighted vampire representative, he doesn't have the correct quest for me to get the minion reward, but he does have the quest for me to get to the next lord level. I figure I may as well do that while I'm waiting. What followed was a repetitive series of murders in which I got to use my new vampire fang sword. I was also forced to deal with the blighted Cyclops problem. Whoa, that was close. You fool, Cyclops! Don't you see my undead minions? My undead minions are just eating them, slowly eating them. Oh, no, he's eating my minions. Stop that! Oh, I hit him in the eye. I blinded him, like Odysseus. I did not know that was a thing. After he died, he dropped a legendary artifact known as the Cyclops Eye. Apparently if I hold it, everything around me does less damage. So I decided to hold a squishy eye in my hand for the rest of the playthrough. Now I had all my royal vampire blood, all I needed to do was murder a whole bunch of vampire hunters. I thought before I do that, I should master some more blood spells. So I needed another volunteer to quickly boil himself. Turns out the dude I chose was a bit of a psycho. He kept boiling himself again and again. He's been mildly boiled. There actually weren't too many new spells to choose from, so I just upgraded everything I already have. I can't understate how good Raise Dead is, though. Kind of strange that it's a blood spell. You'd think it's kind of like necromancy or something, but I'm not complaining. Current strat is stab them with the Venom sword, and then let the undead just chew them to death. For me, as someone who considers reaching to the top shelf to gather a new pack of Pop-Tarts exercise, I'm enjoying the lack of labor I have to do. And with that, we're now a Viscount. Strange how aristocracy works, I don't fully understand it. After having completed 8 million quests, I was finally given my vampire minion scroll, and was now able to consensually transform this man into a minion. Oh, Minion. As Minion and I were under attack, I tried to stab the man with my spider sword, and accidentally stabbed Minion in the process. Uh-oh. I think I just killed Minion. He very nearly died, but didn't. Yeah, Minion used that. Can you use that? Oh, you can. Ooh. Minion. Change Minion appearance. Use Lord Skin. I can make it pasty. Get one that kind of mildly fits the skin tone. Oh yes, this one. Perfect. Yes, it's perfect. Minion! What do I call you though? It's Kim. Kim is here. Professor Beans. How do I heal you, Professor Beans? Can I give you hearts? Aha! He will eat the hearts. Ooh, that is a very inefficient way of him healing. Well, Professor Beans, let's get you some armor, shall we? I enchanted Professor Beans some armor with the XP I had gained doing vampire quests. Professor Beans and I were then kitted out and ready to do our final assault. You might remember some time ago I promised we would enter this dragon crypt. I know from experience that they are incredibly difficult to conquer, but I'm hoping Professor Beans and I can complete one. Right outside of the crypt I managed to find a whole bunch of dread guys, like the ones that had assaulted my house a while ago, and by killing their leader I got a key which opened the door. Are you ready, Professor Beans? In order to prepare for this assault, I had bought a considerable amount of human hearts from a vendor. Yes, I finally managed to unlock this trade. Weirdly, it was from a weaponsmith. I don't understand that either. I split the stack 50-50 with Professor Beans, and then headed inside. Yeah. Whoa. Uh-oh. I feel like it's the close quarteredness of in here that's going to be a problem, I think. But I think with my minions, we will be okay. Get him, Professor Beans. Don't forget to eat. Oh my god, there's so many dogs. Go, Professor Beans! Ooh, I am actually losing health here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Oh wow, that's a lot of them. I need to eat. Ah! No! Regenerate! Professor Bean, save me! Ah! Oh no! I'm gonna use my blood spells. Oh boy, this is bad. These guys hurt, man. Ow! Ow, 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 ow. Oh, okay, okay. This is a bad time for a spooky boy like myself to be out in the snow, but that sword is so good. Where is Professor Beans? Oh, he's dead. Good job, Professor Beans, you died. It's now day 200. Well, I'll be damned if I'm not gonna get in here. You gotta break the spawners as we go through, I think. Otherwise we'll just get overwhelmed. Oh! Professor Beans is back! Defend me, Professor Beans! I think what we need to do is lure them all over. Quickly go in. Break this. Maybe we can sneak in here in bad form. Break this. Get him, lads! Where's Professor Beans? Get him, Professor Beans! Get in there! Get in there, Beans! Uh-oh. Oh, we're starving. Uh-oh. What is this? How have I ended up here? I think I might have teleported by accident. My lord, I have died. Oh, Professor Beans, you're so polite. Terribly sorry, old Bean. I appear to have died. Ah, Professor Beans, you're back. We've made very little progress, I'm going to be honest, Professor Beans. Iron dragon armor? Oh, yes. Professor Beans just murdered someone. Okay, we're going to get down there very quickly. Break a thing. Oh. What? That's what? Break? Okay, I broke. And now we need to get back out of this hole. My god. My lord, I have died. Okay, the herd seems to have thinned out significantly. My zombies have been doing some work. I think that's the last one in here. Professor Beans is still dead, of course. Yes! We did it! What are these? I think these are my rewards, whatever this is in the middle. Yes, block of dragon bones. Ah, Professor Beans. You're back! But these dragon bone blocks, eh? And what is this? Dragon Forge ice brick. I assume the central one is important. Dragon Forge ice aperture. What? Oh, and I can't craft this. So I've found an ingredient to the Dragon Forge that is uncraftable. I suppose that what that probably means is I could create a Dragon Forge. Okay, let's get out of here and get home. We can just teleport, I think. Sangria. The Dragon Forge. But we don't have A, dragon, or B, everything else for the Dragon Forge. Interesting. Well, anyway, that about wraps this up, I suppose. There's room for improvement if we wanted to go further, but for now, we're done. Day 201, actually. I went a little bit over, but that's fine. And I'm gonna wrap this up before I roast. It's very soon going to be morning. Thank you so much to the patrons. This has been very fun. I enjoyed going a bit further. We have some room to grow. We could get ourselves a nice dragon, Professor Beans. We could make the Dragon Forge. Or we could leave it here. It really depends. But for now, I'd like to thank just a few patrons. Pick them at random. Pumpkin, Zero Heart, 7, Sweet Potato, and Tim Rocket. Oh, Professor Beans and I are starting to roast. Okay, we're going inside. And look, I did make the upper floor.